She almost changed her seat the moment she saw him. He smelled of old sweat and something sour, like forgotten food left in the sun. His clothes were wrinkled, stained, and his fingernails were dark with dirt. Everyone else had avoided the seat beside him. Everyone except her. For reasons she couldn't explain, she sat down. Just 5 seconds later, the old man turned his head, looked at her with tired, watery eyes, and whispered something. Words so strange, so unexpected, so hauntingly powerful, they would change her life forever. Before we unravel this mysterious story of coincidence, secrets, and second chances, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring you more true-to-life stories that stay in your heart long after the video ends. Now let's begin. It was raining again. The kind of rain that felt heavy, cold, and exhausting, like the city itself was crying. Lena Morris clutched her tote bag tightly, the fabric soaked from the downpour. She had just missed the early bus and had been standing under a leaking shelter for almost 20 minutes when the next one finally screeched to a halt. It was mostly full, the after-work crowd, damp and irritated, everyone just wanting to get home and disappear from the day. She climbed aboard, paid the fare with her last few coins, and looked around for an empty seat. There was only one left, beside an old man who sat near the back, pressed up against the window like he was trying to vanish into it. He didn't look up as she approached. His coat was too big, torn at the sleeves. His gray beard was tangled. The faint smell of unwashed clothes hovered around him like a fog. Most people would have kept walking, choosing to stand instead. But Lena's legs ached, her feet were wet, and frankly she was too tired to care. So she sat down. At first he didn't move. Then, slowly, he turned his head toward her. His eyes, though old, were piercing. Not frightening, just seeing. Really seeing. "Thank you," he whispered. Lena blinked. "Sorry?" He leaned closer, and what he said next made her blood run cold. "You look just like her." She swallowed hard. "Like who?" "My daughter." There was a strange stillness in the way he said it. Not creepy, not dramatic, just shattered. "I lost her years ago," he continued. "She sat beside me the night before she died, just like this. On a bus like this. Same seat." Lena shifted slightly but didn't move away. Something about the sadness in his voice anchored her there. The weight of his words felt heavier than the rain outside. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. He looked out the window again. "You remind me so much of her, not just the face. The way you sit, like you're trying to hold your whole world together in your lap." Lena chuckled bitterly. "You're not wrong." A moment passed. The bus rolled forward. The city lights flickered on rain-streaked windows. He didn't say anything else, for a while, and Lena assumed the conversation was over. But just before the next stop, he turned again. "I shouldn't say this, but I feel like I have to." She looked at him, uncertain. "I don't have much time left," he whispered. "I can feel it. My heart doesn't beat right anymore. I haven't seen a doctor in 3 years." Her chest tightened. "But something about you?" He hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe I was meant to see you today." "Why me?" she asked softly. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, battered notebook. It was brown, leather-bound, and looked like it had lived through a dozen lifetimes. "This," he said, holding it out. "I want you to have it." Lena frowned. "I can't take—" "You can. And you should." She hesitated, then took the notebook. It was heavier than she expected. She looked down at it, then back at him. But the man was already closing his eyes, his head leaning against the foggy window. 2 stops later, he got off the bus without a word, disappeared into the night. Lena watched him go. Something tugged at her. A strange, uneasy feeling. She clutched the notebook tightly in her hands. When she got home, still soaked from the rain, She placed the notebook on her kitchen table and just stared at it for a long time. Eventually, she opened it. The first page read, "To whoever holds this, what you do with it will define you. Inside are the stories of my life, my regrets, and my only wish, to make right what I could not." The notebook was filled with journal entries, handwritten with shaking pen strokes. Each entry was dated. Some went back as far as 1983. The man, whose name was Walter, had once been a history professor, brilliant, passionate, but consumed by grief after losing his wife and then his daughter. One entry described the night his daughter died, how she had tried to reach out to him, how he hadn't listened, how she got on that bus, sat beside him, and tried to say goodbye, but he was too caught up in his own pain to notice. The next morning, she was gone, struck by a drunk driver 2 blocks from their home. He wrote about the guilt, the loneliness, the years spent drifting, hoping for forgiveness but never finding it. But the last entry was different. It was dated 3 days before Lena met him. It read, "If I see her again, or someone like her, I'll know it's time to pass this on. I hope they can forgive the world in ways I couldn't. I hope they can choose life when I chose silence." Lena sat there, her hands trembling. She thought about her own life, how she'd recently lost her job at the bookstore, how her mother was battling cancer alone in another city, how she'd been too scared to call her ex and ask for help, even though her rent was 2 months late. She had been drowning, hiding it well, but still drowning. The notebook made her feel seen, understood, reminded her that broken people still have stories and choices. She read every page that night, twice. The next morning she called her mother. "I'm coming to visit," she said. "This weekend." Her mother cried on the phone. Then Lena called the community college near her neighborhood, the one she had looked at years ago but never applied to. She asked if their literature program still accepted late applicants. They did, and finally, she printed out a few pages from Walter's journal and left them at the public library under a sticky note that read, "This man may be gone, but his voice still matters. Let it help you the way it helped me." Months passed. Lena found a part-time job teaching kids how to read. Her mother's condition stabilized. Her world didn't suddenly fix itself, but it began to heal. One evening on her way home, she saw a man sitting alone at the bus stop, crying softly into his hands. Without thinking, she sat down beside him. "You okay?" she asked. He looked at her, startled. And in that moment, Lena realized something powerful. Sometimes life brings people to you not because they need help, but because you do. And sometimes the smallest choice, like where you sit on a bus, changes everything.